Welcome to Trek Trav, I'm Trav, and today we're looking at Star Trek Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 4, Room for Growth. Stick around, like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to come back for videos pretty much every second day. So the episode starts off with a reference to the Mask episode of TNG, and apparently it's happened 3 times before. The captain's got a mask on, she's turning the ship into I'm assuming some sort of medieval kingdom. Ignore the cars outside, it is raining. And it's an interesting opener, and they talk about how there's very little room on the Cerritos, especially in the lower decks where everyone is crowded together, but they want to be in the thick of the action. Bold Boimler's brought up a couple of times in this episode. The engineering team, after the masks thing, has to fix the ship and they get under stress, so the captain decides to take the engineering team to a ship called the Dove and tries to get them to relax. And there's this really funny thing where they just don't relax. They're just trying to do engineering problems everywhere they go. They're making schematics in sand, and they're covering their little badgy things with cucumbers. And it's an interesting thing, because obviously on a starship the ship is going to be a stressful environment. The funniest thing is we don't actually see this in TNG or in any of the other series. We don't really see that pressure. I think the closest we come to is on Deep Space Nine. Miles O'Brien gets a little bit of stress. Geordi, sometimes if it played to the story, got some stress, but this is talking about like they've just been under the pump. Obviously, our Rutherford goes off with the engineers to the relaxing Dove ship, and they were left with Boimler, Beckett, Mariner, and Tendi on the ship. And there's a room lottery, and they want to get there before the Delta shift gets there because. Sorry, they want to get to the computer so they can hack it before the Delta shift does, so they can get a room on another deck, Deck 1, they're supposing. And then there's an interesting thing where they're jumping through and they're trying to get through the bows of the ship, and you see some interiors. We see the inside of the deflector dish, which I don't think we've ever seen. And it's really an episode about these crews, sort of the lower decks part of the ship. Basically all the characters are there. Bold Boimler seems to be the thing. Boimler's much more outgoing. He's trying to do things. He's a bit more gung-ho than he was in the last 2 seasons. And Beckett brings this up, like, we need to stop this, because and she even says, like, if he keeps going this way, he'll die. It's an okay episode. It's quite good. It's not, obviously, as I've said with my previous 2 Lower Decks reviews, which you can check out on my channel, I don't think this season is as strong as Season 1. I do think this episode was pretty entertaining, and it sort of took us back to where it was, in that it's the lower decks of the ship. These are lower decks problems, these are crew problems. There's no big aliens, no big bad. This is just the engineering staff are stressed and they're trying to fight over who gets the quarters. And the episode ends on, and the funniest joke in the episode is 100% where they decide that they want to stay together, and then they find out that Delta Shift took the quarters and then just decided to shove some extra bunks in it so they could all have the same quarter.
I can't believe they're sharing that one room.
God, they just put 4 beds in there, and now it's like their private party quarters.
Ugh, why didn't we think of that? I don't know. We were tired.
Hey, why didn't you guys rent that room for me?
We didn't think you would want it.
Of course I wanted it. What are you talking about? We all wanted it.
Because, you know, beta shifters stick together.
We still could have.
Well,
And they sort of go, why didn't you think of that? Because they didn't. This seems like something that I would do, to be honest. I'm quite forgetful. But it was quite funny. There were some humorous parts in it. I think the reference to the animated series with the alien that's on the Dove, running the Dove, the 3-handed one. I don't actually know the name because the animated series is where I'm the weakest in Star Trek. But it's a really interesting sort of callback to the premise of the show. And he talks about the Cerritos having a lot of refits, so he doesn't know everything. This is Boimler. it's a callback. I would say that there's a lot less humour this season, and there's a lot more. I can see that they're trying to put more plot in with the characters. I can see that they're trying to build the characters to be a little bit more deep than they were in the first and second season. I still don't think it has the same depth as something like Solar Opposites, where the comedy of Solar Opposites is the aliens on the planet, but there's a growth with those aliens and they change. And there's also the wall people, and that story, like Solar Opposites, funnily enough, I enjoyed the alien stuff. I really enjoyed the wall stuff. Like it's like they should make this its own TV show. It's a really interesting episode in that it's sort of is probably the best of the season so far, I think. In terms of the energy and the feeling of it. It's a bit more simple, a bit more level. It does feel like it has a conclusion. Like, it seems like the other two episodes, the conclusion was really rushed. But with this one, it was like, no, they want to stay together. And then they pull the rug out under them, and they could have stayed together in the quarters on deck 4 together. And Rutherford's really pissed off about this. Like, he comes in, and it was quite abrupt, actually, because he sort of snaps at them, but you sort of get it. Like, it would be really annoying having to share with people. Sort of like a high school camp or something like that. I'm enjoying Lower Decks this season. Like, it's just not what season 1 was. We've also got Prodigy coming up soon as well, so we're going to have to get back into that. I'm going to be doing season reviews of the new series, so Discovery I'm going to do seasons 1 through 4, Picard I'm going to do season 1, Prodigy I'm going to do the rest of season 1, and Lower Deck season 1 and 2. Because I think that the channel needs to have a bit more of that. So, what did you think about this episode? I thought it was good. I think the best of the season, but not the best episode of Lower Decks. Write it in the comment, subscribe, come back, check with it, because there's more channels. I also have Instagram at TrekDocTrav. I have Twitter, TrekTrav. I have TikTok, TrekTrav1701. Check out all of these things. Links are in the description. And come back next time for Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 5.